Hey YouTube, today we are going to do something a little bit different. We are going to do a budget build. So if you are looking to get a cheap gaming machine, we are going to see if this may work for you. So this is a server that you can buy on eBay. You can buy any of these old Xeon servers on eBay for $220 to about $550. Depending on make, model, and spec and all that. This one is probably right around the $250 mark. So if you get that for about 250 bucks and then put an A2000 in it, this is a 12 gig A2000. So these are going for about $776 right now. So if you get one between $700 to $900, you'll be in this anywhere between $900 to $1,200. So this is a multi-thread, tons of RAM. You can do virtual machines on this, run like a Plex server, and then we're going to see how well it games today with this A2000. So I'm going to pop this A2000 in right over here. As you can see, it has a PCI x16 slot right here. And let's see how good and practical of a computer this actually is. Alright, just pops right in. No power connectors needed. So let's see how well she games. Okay, so we're installing Time Spy now. One thing I do have to say is these are Velociraptor drives, so it will be a lot slower than your standard SSD, but not horribly slower. Since they're striped, it's going about twice as fast as a Velociraptor can. So, there's that. So let's run Time Spy and see how she does. Okay, started the Time Spy, and we're at about 34 frames so far, 44 frames. That's really not too bad. 40 frames, 35 frames. We'll let this baby run the whole time, and we will see what the score is at the end. One thing I do want to say is it's only taking 219 watts right now. So that's running the entire server, and the graphics card was taking about 219 watts. As you can see, it's changing scenes right now, and the graphics card isn't pulling any wattage. It's in the high hundreds, 170 to 180. But as soon as this comes back on, it'll start pulling about 219 again. So that's really not bad. About 219 watts for a gaming PC. You're almost in laptop territory right there. My laptops will pull about 198 to 200 watts. So just thought that was very interesting. Alright, we just finished, and that's our score. We got about 3465 on the CPU and 5908 on the graphics score. So not too bad, not too bad. Let's see how she games on some games. Alright, so we are in Dirt 5, and I want to show you, I have it on, I'm going to turn VSync off. It lets me here. And dynamic resolution off, and then everything is in 1080p on max quality. Ray tracing is off. So that is my settings for this benchmark. See what the benchmark is. So it's getting about 50 frames. maxed out at 1080p. That's really like not bad at all. It's not stuttery or jittery at all. It is silky smooth. So I will let this go to the end and show you guys what the average frame rate is at the very end. But man, this is killer. Okay, so this was the result. An average of 55 frames. So it's really not bad. I mean, it looked so playable. Yeah, better than a PS5. That is for sure. So I'm going to test a few other games, but so far this is really, really impressive. Okay, so we're on Ashes of Singularity. And man, that's a really bad reflection, but you can see the quality profile is on crazy, and it's just default crazy profile is what I'm doing. So I'm going to click OK, and I am going to run this in the benchmark. Okay, let's see how this baby does in the benchmark. We're going to do GPU focused right now. And so you get the 8012 gig, and these are the settings. True, high, 12 million, high, 00, 4x. So I'm going to let this run, and I will let you guys know how it does at the end. Okay, it's about to start. Here it goes. And honestly, this is as smooth as it could be. I mean, yeah, I don't see any issues with this at all. I don't see any stuttering. This is honestly a fantastic gaming experience so far. So let me let this run through, and I will tell you what the results are at the end. But so far, this looks absolutely amazing. Okay, so it just finished, and here's what we got. So we got all batches, 32 frames. We got normal batches, 43 frames. Medium batches, 37 frames, and heavy batches, 23 frames. But you know what? I didn't see anything that looked really horrible during that entire benchmark. So far, this is a fantastic experience, guys. I mean, for what GPU prices are right now and what you can get them for, I mean, I'm telling you guys, for a $400 server, not even, this is like a $250 server, and this is really a $450 graphics card, but you can't find them for any less than $800-900. But so in today's market, you spend about $1,000 to $1,100, and you got an all-around pretty kick-ass computer. I'm going to open up Halo this time and run Halo and make sure I don't have any minimum frame requirements on, and see how this baby does. But so far, I mean, for the price you're paying, you're not going wrong at all. All right, so here we are in Halo. Here we are in Halo. Get back to my graphics settings real quick because my controller fell off my lap and I hit a bunch of buttons. But so I turned off the minimum frame rate, turned off the maximum frame rate, and I put it on preset Ultra. And we're using about 7.11 gigs. This is a 12 gig A2000, so I'm actually really interested to see how it's doing. And we're at about 67 frames. I don't know if you guys can see that, but about 67, 68 frames in the menu, which means absolutely nothing. So let's start with a game here, and we will see how she does through the game. I'm going to start a custom game of myself, actually, just so I can see what's going on really easy. And let's see what kind of frames we get in actual gameplay. Okay, so I am in the game and I'm running around. I'm trying to play with one hand, so this is not going to really work out. But as you guys can see up in the corner here, I mean, it is 70. I mean, you're talking. Oops, sorry. 80 plus frames. I mean, dude, on Halo, and this is maxed out. This is on Ultra, with no frame minimum and no frame maximum. Okay, so I just want to do a little bit more testing. I did some. I'm doing some campaign now. This is like the third time this game has made me restart. I just bought it for Steam and it made me restart. But whatever. It's doing pretty good. 60 frames, which I have it locked at. Not locked at 60 frames. There's no minimum, but the maximum is 60 frames with V-Syncs on. So that's kind of where it's at, and I am going to play the game, and I'll be popping in and out to kind of show you guys what the frame rate is, but I am so impressed. It's insane. A little tiny A2000 and an old server. Loving it. Alright, so this is kind of how it is. Solid 60 frames in campaign. I'm thoroughly impressed. This is on an old server with just that little card. I mean, you are talking some outstanding performance for just a PCI slot card. I mean, this is on Ultra, on 1080p Ultra, 60 frames. I mean, this is about as good as you can get. Just blown away. Absolutely no lag. So I just wanted to kind of pop in this one last time and show you guys kind of what it's like on campaign, instead of just like in the game for myself. Have my wife recording for me so I could play a little bit, but I mean, this is phenomenal. I know this is the beginning of the game and it's inside. I'll do some videos when I get on the planet, on the ring, and outside in some environments, but so far inside, it's phenomenal. So okay, so I am outside now, and the performance is a lot different. It's getting about, try not to die here. It's getting about, what is that, 56 frames or so, and it goes to about 38 to 40, but it's still extremely playable, and this is maxed out. So still dang impressed. I was a little like, man, 60, holding on 60 the whole time, that's really good. But for an outside environment now, you know, it's doing, you know, like you see 48, 49. I mean, it'll drop to, you know, 38 sometimes, but I think that's also this old server as well. I'm gonna do, you know, more videos on these A2000s, but on a budget build, if you're looking for something to game on at a really good price and performance in an old server like this, and an A2000 is a pretty dang good ticket. So in conclusion, this is kind of what I'm talking about. You can hop on Amazon and type in you know, renewed server, and I've bought plenty of these just for messing with, and you get a lot of parts and a lot of RAM and, you know, 2 CPUs, and I usually strip them down and make multiple computers out of them. But sometimes it's nice just to keep them together, and I mean, you can get them, some of them are pretty expensive, but you can get them for pretty cheap. You know, I would always go with like an E series CPU. I always try to, you know, if they have any V2s, try to go with a V2. Here's a V3, you know. Shoot, that even comes with a graphics card. So, I mean, you can pick one of these up for fairly cheap. You know, $200, 30 bucks. Here we go. 2 E5s, 620s. That's not bad. The one that I am on right now has 48 gigs of RAM and 2 Xeon E5 2609 V2s. And I have another server that I have another 48 gigs of RAM in, and it has a 2680 V2s in it. So, you know, these actually don't work all that bad for gaming because they're low core count. Let's see how many cores these ones are. Let's see here. Show that. So yeah, I mean, it's only eight cores and 8 logical processes. So, but still, I mean, for you know, a budget build gamer, it's not that bad. But a budget build gamer is about $1,000 in 2022. I mean, if you got this server, let's say you got this GH server right here for $225, and then you put A2000 in it for $800, you're $1,035 for your cheapest gaming scenario on a PC with a graphics card, unless you want to buy like a pre-built. But I just think that's a little crazy to look at. But yeah, I mean, you guys can do it if you want to, like a gamer slash, you know, something that's going to serve your house. Here's that one with an E5 2640. I mean, there's tons. eBay's a great place too. I just hopped on Amazon because it's easy just to look real quick. But you can pretty much type in, you know, renewed server, or, you know, Dell, Asus, or HP servers, and you can find them used all day long. You can get them with 20, 30 cores, I mean 20 cores and you know, 40 threads. And they do pretty decent. You know, they're not the most power efficient, but they're not the worst either. I actually on this one, when it's gaming at full tilt with that A2000, it only takes 215 watts, 220 watts or so. So that's really not that bad either. So just yeah, just a little conclusion there. For about $1,000 or so, you can play Halo, you know, at 60 frames. Outside, it's about 48 frames or so. I did turn down the graphics a little bit when I was playing. After I stopped that last video, I turned them down to high instead of ultra, and the frames went up to about 50 to 55 frames. So I thought that was very impressive as well. Obviously, there's tons more games on here that are going to vary between CPU and RAM and the motherboards in these things, but in general, you're going to get pretty decent gaming performance for the dollar. You know, when you're looking at 3070s and stuff that costs $1,000 alone, you know, you can get a whole rig with a pretty decent GPU that's good at multiple things and low power for about $1,000 bucks. So just something to think about. Till next time.